Hey there, everybody. Dr. JP Gidger here. We're going to be doing a little hip flexor, hip flexion series here. So we're going to start with some hip flexor mobility moves, do a little bit of glute work, and then we're going to do some hip flexor strengthening and hip flexion range of motion. So kind of run through each of the areas of those and talk about how to perform those. So I'm going to start with some half kneeling hip flexion mobility or hip flexor mobility. So side that's down is the side we're working, so we want to make sure we get a good squeeze through our glutes, pull those ribs down. So we don't want to be going into low back or lumbar extension, so we want to stay down. First thing we're going to do is some of you may just get a good stretch just getting in that position. Once you get there, you can get a little more just by gliding forward, but maintaining that ribs down and glute squeeze and back. So you can just move in and out. You can add some holds at the end of the stretch if you can tolerate that, okay? So second thing we're gonna do is we can add a little something to that. So first thing, again, we're still making sure we get that glute and those ribs down. We can add a side bend. And again, we can add that glide in, or we can just side bend away if that's enough stretch for you. The other thing we can do is we can add a little rotation away. Again, glide, or if that rotation just adds enough stretch, you can just hold that position. So again, the key with all of these is making sure we maintain that glute squeeze, ribs down, not going in that lumbar extension. So next, we're going to drive a little bit of hip extension through the glutes. So we're going to do a little feet together bridge. So again, main thing here, a couple key components. So feet together, knees about hip width apart. We're going to press our back into the ground, kind of do a little mini crunch up. And then roll up through the glutes. So we're driving through the glutes. Again, we're not going in the lumbar extension. Down. So you can have your head down on a pillow. So back flat, roll up and through the glutes. Really squeeze through the glutes and the core. Again, you can do these for holds, or you can do these for slow range of motion. So again, from here, driving up. Okay, lastly, we're going to do some hip flexion, range of motion, hip flexor strengthening. So first thing, we're going to do some in-range isometric holds. So you're going to take your knee, pull into your chest. Once you get as far as you can, you're going to let go and try to actively hold there. And then down. Again, pull in as far as you can. Actively hold, maybe a count of 5 to 10. And 5 to 10 reps on each side. We can add a little band to that to start strengthening through the full range of motion. So feet together, again, back nice and flat. Up, I also like to add a little hold here, maybe 3 to 5 seconds. Up, driving through that full range, 3 to 5 seconds, not letting that back arch. Pulling up like that. One last thing we could do, so you can take an object here, hold a dumbbell. This might be too high, but so some straight leg, active hip flexion, up and over. So we're driving that leg straight, trying to sit up nice and tall. Picking an object we can go over without having to lean back too much, being able to maintain that upright torso. Okay? So if you're having some issues with hip flexor tightness, hips, even some low back pain, trying some of these can kind of help get those hip flexors a little more activated, a little stronger, and get the hip moving better.